Greetings and welcome to Connecting with Intent Formula Show. I am your host, Muhammad Awais. On this episode, we have a very special guest. He is the servant leader, entrepreneur, and tech marketing consultant, Dr. Jeremy Roberts. Please join me to give a warm welcome to our guest, Jeremy Roberts.
Hey, how are you doing?
Welcome, Jeremy.
Hey, thank you
Let,
for thank you for inviting me to the show.
let me start with this. Where were you? What happened? Who were you surrounded with that inspired you to do what you do today?
Okay, good question. In 2005, I was going to school to get my MBA at Tulane University in New Orleans, in Louisiana. And if you remember, that's when the hurricane hit the United States, one of the largest hurricanes to ever hit the United States, Hurricane Katrina. When that hit, we evacuated. We left. Everybody left the school in the state for almost 6 months. When we came back, the school with my MBA program said, uh, "What would you like to do?" And we were all inspired to help, and so they turned us into consultants. So the school said, as part of your grade, some of your classes, we're going to send you into the city to speak with business owners, to speak with, struggling businesses and small business owners. And I want you to help people, find people to help, build out a plan, be a consultant, and just help them. And this is what inspired me to do what I did today, is because of that. And I grew up, my parents were small business owners, but my parents dedicated their lives to helping people. So they would travel around the world. We've been Africa, we've been to India a few times, the Philippines, Cambodia, Haiti, Mexico, giving out medicines and helping people who are sick. And by doing this, my parents always gave back. They wanted to help people. So that inspired me also the same, to say, how can I, in my own special way, help other people and give back to them? So I think the hurricane made me decide this is what I want to do.
Thank you so much, Jeremy, for sharing your story.
Mhm.
What is your higher purpose in life?
Good question. Okay, so like the higher purpose question for me, it's to make an impact. The biggest thing that I want to do is make an impact, and so I have a mantra that I live by, and my mantra is inspired by something that Buddha said. And Buddha said, "One moment can change a day, one day can change a life, and one life can change a world." Right? And
Yeah,
because of that, I feel like I need to take those special moments to be able to make that impact, to be able to make that moment, to be able to say, you know what, can I change somebody's life? Can I change it that one moment? I did this, when I look at all the things that inspired me from New Orleans, this is why I became a tech and marketing and technology consultant. I've been doing consulting for 20 years. This is where this is why I've been trying to help others find success. This is why I was teaching as a college professor at Texas A&M San Antonio for 5 years. This is why I sit on multiple boards and committees. This is why I dedicate my life, helping others. Is in my blood growing up. And for the thing is, a lot of people say, your higher purpose to impact and give to others. It's not about money. It's not about money. You can give as much money as possible, but what you want to really do is give people an opportunity to be something, right? Give them an opportunity to make something with their life and make a difference. But you have to inspire them. And I think that's my purpose, is to inspire people and make an impact.
that's a powerful purpose. You know?
Thank you. Yes.
What have been top three greatest challenges that you have had to overcome?
So I was thinking about this, and thinking about the challenges, and everybody has completely different challenges. So I'm going to throw out my three. They may be very different from other people's, but they're mine. So it's what came to me. The first one was COVID. In October of 2020, I had COVID, very bad COVID, and I was sick for almost a month. I was in bed. I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe. I lost a ton of weight, and I was just bad. I went to the hospital a few times because I couldn't breathe. And because of that, I've had a lot of lung issues. And I've had to retrain myself to breathe and to be able to speak for more than a few minutes without having to sit down and relax. I used to be an athlete. I used to play sports and run marathons and stuff. And now I can't do anything anymore. So it's terrible. But I have to rebuild my lungs. It's been a big challenge, and made me it made it difficult for me to be a entrepreneur because I had no energy. Right. The next is the next challenge is trying to figure out how do you balance your life with your work. Right. They talk about work life balance, and I've tried a lot of different things, and I failed so many times. I've I've tried to figure out, what should I work more and does it make a bigger impact on my career? And it doesn't. Should I live more and neglect my work? Well, then you get fired and it doesn't work, right? So it's one of those things that's like, what is the perfect balance? And for me, that balance changes throughout the years. Every year it changes throughout my life, depending on how old I am and where I am, and maybe how old my kids are, my children. Everything has to change. But for me, you know, I want to strive to live my life. 12 years ago, I lost my brother, Jeff. He died. And then also 9 years ago, my other brother, Paul, he died. And because of that, it impacted me. And it made me think you have to live your life. You have to get out and enjoy your life and live it. But you also have responsibilities to work. So it's been that struggle to do everything, right? Enjoy your life, live to the full life and not. The last one is rebuilding myself after you fail, right? We fail all the time. And it's like there have been so many times where I've just failed miserably. But the thing is that I have to challenge myself to rebuild myself to be better next time, right? So that those are my three challenges.
Yeah. Let me ask you the next question. What is your greatest failure story? What did you learn and how did you recover from it?
Yeah, for me, it always comes down to, for me, my biggest failure story is not a specific story, but it's not a single story, but it's a lot of great failures and successes my whole life. I personally have succeeded in my life because I fear failure. I have an absolute fear to fail, and I don't want to fail. I don't want to let anybody down. I don't want um, to just not be able to do it because I feel like I didn't try hard enough, or I wasn't smart enough, or I didn't put enough time or effort. So for me, the hardest person on me is me. And so my biggest failure is me, but my biggest success is also me because I put too much stress on myself. So I'm my biggest critic. So, but I've also been my biggest motivator. So I learned from it by basically saying, you know what, you have to do better. You have to motivate yourself. You have to find your own internal energy to wake up every day. Some people say, what gives you energy? Do you drink coffee, right? Do you drink, this energy, take medicines? Do you go do meditation? What do you do? Do you do yoga, something? No. For me, it's the fear. My biggest strength is my biggest failure, which is fear. And so it's funny. I use what I hate the most to be my best.
What is the most impactful book you have read and what did you learn from it?
Great question. I have a lot of books that I like, but I've condensed it down to a few. So in my professional career, I'll start with the first one. The first one is called The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell. An amazing book. I use the quote all the time about when you're trying to discover a solution for something and you need to see that something needs to tip in order for it to be able to find success. It's not about a big result or a big answer or what we call a silver bullet answer. It's not going to be one thing that makes everything happen. It's the little things. It's little small wins, not the big win, but the little small wins and little things that causes something to tip. So the tipping point is the first one. The second one is Crossing the Chasm by Jeffrey Moore. Crossing the Chasm is related to the tipping point. They have similarities where they kind of refer to each other. And Crossing the Chasm is a great book. You're talking about being able to, be able to push products, push ideas. It's an amazing book. Next one is something that I tell my students all the time when I was teaching. I make them watch the TED Talk by Simon Sinek called Start With Why. And Start With Why has an amazing impact with people. Is that if you don't sell people on why you do something, they'll never follow you. They'll never believe with you. There's so many people out there who try to get people to follow them and to admire them because of things. Things don't have a meaning. Your why has a meaning. Have a very strong why you do something, and people will love that why and follow you. The last one is an author named Dan Ariely. So Dan Ariely was a professor of behavioral economics at MIT for a while, and he wrote a ton of books and did TED Talks. And he has two books that I love: Predictably Irrational and The Upside of Irrationality. Those two books by Dan Ariely are amazing because he talks about how, you have to assume that everybody's behavior is the same. Everybody does things the exact same way, but there's a way to make them change it. So you can predict how they're going to respond, but you can change the way you do it because you know how to predict how they're going to respond. It's
Yeah,
cool. No.
thank you.
Mhm.
What are your goals for the next 12 months?
Tough one. So, good question. My entire life has been goal based. Everything, everything in my life has been goal based. I've made goals throughout my life, my career. I'll give you an example. So, I wanted to work at a publicly traded company. I hit that goal. I wanted to make over, let's say, make up a number. I wanted to make over $100,000 US a year. I hit that goal. I wanted to earn my master's degree, my MBA from a top 50 school. I did that. I wanted to earn my doctorate and my PhD. I did that. I wanted to be on a board. I did that. I wanted to be the chairman of a board. I did that. I wanted to run for public office, to be, to run like, with an election, a citywide election. I did that. I wanted to be a conference speaker. I did that. I wanted to have my own podcast. I did that. I ran a marathon. I wanted to be a college professor. So everything in my life has goal based, but everything is based on measurable, timely, and realistic goals. And for me, my goals have evolved over the last 20 years. But for me, it's always trying to figure out where I want to go next. Right now, I'm actually still trying to figure out my next set of goals. But I feel like in my career, I've hit the peak. So you climb to your career and you hit your peak. And then from that peak, you go down, right, into your retirement. I'm right now at that peak. So I need to figure out what is my next set of goals as I start to go down. So over the next 6 to 12 months, I'm trying to figure out what is the last things that I want to do as I go into retirement, basically.
I appreciate you sharing the goals with us.
Hmm.
What advice you will give to your younger self?
Hmm. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't do it. Don't let anybody tell you that you can't get it. Don't let anybody tell you that you're not smart enough, that this is not for you. Work hard, work your butt off, right? But also work smart. It's not about working hard and saying, I work 15 hours. Okay, good. But then you say, I work 10 hours, but I work smarter. And so I wasn't so stressed out and crazy. Don't worry. You'll fail, but you have to figure it out. And that's my advice to myself.
How can we support you?
For me, I think I think this is great. I think you guys can support by sharing the message, sharing some of the things that I've said. If you guys want to reach out to me, my LinkedIn is right there. Reach out to me, ask me some questions, and let's have a conversation. The best thing to do to support each other is to just talk, have a very open conversation, but be real. Don't be fake. Be real. Exactly how you feel, and tell people what you think.
What would you say about your guest appearance on the show?
No, it's been fun. I think you have some really insightful questions. You made me think when you. I asked earlier. I remember talking to you. I said, what do you want to talk about? And you sent me some sample questions. Like, okay, and you made me think. I had to sit there and think about these questions and answers, and it actually inspired me again to be like, you know what? I need to keep going. I need to keep working harder. So it's been good. I really love what you have here.
Thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate you.
Hmm.
What closing thoughts would you like to share with our listeners?
Okay, a few things. Be more today than you were yesterday. Whatever you do today, try to be better than you were yesterday. Another thing, when you help others around you, help them succeed, and that also makes you succeed. So help others to succeed, and that'll help you succeed. And also find something that inspires you and motivates you, right? Find something that you are inspired by and that you're motivated by, and that will be the energy that fuels you to be able to be successful in your life.
Thank you so much, and Dr. Germany, for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thank you.
On the behalf of Connecting with Intent Formula community and our entire team, we really appreciate you. This is Muhammad Wes. Until the next episode, all good wishes.